And there it was.
There
Short and sweet.
was.
We're going to work on that. And by the end, we're going to have like a 6-minute intro that's just going to be the most beautiful thing you've ever seen. So, all right, let me start off. This is what I'm planning on doing for all 29 shows. What's your overall thought for the show?
I thought it was great. I thought drums. I hate to say this because I'm actually a big Billy fan. I thought drums was really fucking good. Like probably the best drums I've heard Dead and Co do. And it's like
Right.
right off the bat, I'm like, holy
Right.
shit.
Jay on the kit in the beginning. O'Teal was still on bass. I mean, it had some pep in its step there.
Yeah, it was great. And overall, the show is a lot of fun. I don't want to get into specific
Right.
jams right off the bat, but overall, I was very fond of this show.
Right. I was a bigger fan of the first set than the second. And we'll leave it there and we'll jump into what we opened with was Shakedown, which I guess it's an LA tune. Seems appropriate. I like what they do with it, the shake it down part. I know
Yeah.
some people think that's cheesy, but I feel like it's them owning the song and cutting the cord from Jerry. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, no, definitely. And it's interesting as the choice for the set opener. You got to touch base with Matt and find out what he was thinking with that. I mean, it's a fun song to start the tour with, for sure. It's just not what I was expecting.
Right. I was expecting the next song to be the opener for the tour. The oldest song in the playbook, Cold Rain and Snow. They've been doing it for 50 some years consistently. It never dropped out.
Yeah.
And it represents so much of everything Jerry was to me. And I feel like Mayer just totally conveys that in his interpretation and performance of it.
Yeah, he's really been honing his Jerry really well, I think. I was impressed with him tonight too. I'm not a big Johnny Salami fan personally, but I don't know. I was pretty impressed with the way he was playing tonight.
Does anybody make a better fuckface than Johnny Salami?
I'm gonna go ahead and say no.
I mean, that's the
Decidedly
guy,
not.
right? The guy is just there. All right. So then half step, I'm not a fan of half step overall as a song. I've always felt like it was one of the more feeble songs in their catalog. And I don't feel like they don't get the vocal right. And I want to ask you about something else though, but what do you think about the half step? Where are you on that?
I like playing that song actually. It's one of my favorite songs to cover. But you're right. It didn't have
Mm,
the fun listening to it, right? Like it's more fun playing than it was listening to Dead and Co play. It was kind of like, eh.
right. I had this thought during that they were showing like trains and stuff and on the screens they had that one screen. Some of it was really cool. Like during eyes, they made the screen into an eye.
Yeah.
But I feel like that's a distraction. I would like to know your take on it. I think that Fish nails it with just the lights.
Yeah.
It leaves the rest to your imagination instead of showing you a picture of a train, and
Yeah.
telling you.
I agree 100%. And actually, I was thinking that on the webcast too, during Drums in Space, they were like really tripping out the cameras and stuff and giving like the shudder and stutter and everything. I was like, stop doing that. Like, if I wanted to alter my mind, I'm going to alter my mind on my own. I don't need you to do that.
Exactly. So then they love each other.
Oh, that was great.
Yes, and thanks. Ryan pointed this out to me. Rye Storm over there on Osiris. They added the 73 lyrics that Jerry dropped that he only did in 73, 74. So I thought that Mayer was just making shit up and mumbling. But apparently it's the actual words. And when he said that, it all started to click. But I haven't listened to a 73 They Love Each Other in 25 years.
It's a
So
good catch by Ryan. Holy shit.
he's the man with that. He really he's a student. He's like Mayer. I attribute it to not grow. Well,
You're gonna blow his ego out.
I am. I attribute it to not growing up in it.
Yeah.
Coming from someone, Ryan being younger and Mayer just not being part of that scene and then coming to it later and wanting it all. I know what it is to be a fan, to just, like you discover the Clash and you want everything they've ever played. Some people do.
Yeah, I wonder if it's more academic then emotional at that point too, because it's almost like a history
It
lesson.
is. It was academic for me with the Dead when I first got into them. It was learning everything I could and being able to name that tune. Play Part of an Eyes, and I can tell you what show it was from, kind of thing. But all right, so then the meat of the set, 30 minutes, St. Stephen 11.
That was great.
I will take that 30 minutes over anything Fish, Goose, anybody does. That
Eh,
was it was focused, and they're the masters. They're the masters at it. As good as Fish is at what they do, they owe it to that.
yeah, no doubt. I mean, everybody that jams for the most part these days owes it to the Grateful Dead, but I feel like it was safe, right? Like it wasn't
Ooh.
it was a safe jam, but it was well executed. It was a little I honestly it got a little weird and not in a good way. Like it was a little plucky and weird for a minute, and I was getting nervous. And then Johnny Salami once again, this is where I really took note. I think kind of really honed it in and brought it somewhere cool. And then they started a really, fun part of the jam. But no, listen, the Stephen was, and I really love the segue and the bridge into 11. That was incredible,
Yeah, that
absolutely
William
phenomenal.
Tell bridge. And
Yeah.
Bobby nailed the fucking lyrics. He nailed the lyrics to all of it, which is amazing in and of itself, because I don't know. If I had him in front of me, I probably couldn't.
Yeah, he is great with that. Good memory for some weird ass lyrics. But yeah, no. So the Steven was a great jam. I don't know if I'd go as far as you're saying. I mean, I think it was a
See,
great,
I
decent,
guess
safe jam.
right. I hear that, and it transports me back to what I fell in love with
Yeah.
about everything. It's that, and
No, that's
there we were.
great.
I mean, but for 30 minutes, I wouldn't. Sometimes when Fish plays 30 minutes, they played 30 minutes. You wouldn't have realized that they played 30 minutes there. To me.
Yeah. Listen, I
So
mean, I think it's a very personal thing, and that's what's great about this, genre and this kind of
exactly,
music. And that's I
exactly.
don't have that same recall as you do for that specific type, but
Right,
I appreciate that you do. I think that's awesome.
right. And then Deal. What do you think of Deal? People
Deal's
like
fun.
Deal.
I like Deal. You don't like Deal? What's the
I
deal with that?
Deal is they just tell you what it is. There's no story. I don't know.
Lyric thing and
It's
lyric.
the lyric thing again.
Yeah,
I
that
mean,
is your
Deal,
thing.
but Deal needed to smoke. I mean, if I want a Deal, I want a 1980s Jerry band Deal where he was jacked up and playing 900 miles an hour on that motherfucker.
Yeah, I mean, okay, great. I mean, it's definitely been more ripping deals, but I actually thought for Dead and Co. that was a pretty ripping deal. Like they got it going a little bit.
Right?
I don't.
I have a theory.
All
So,
right, hit me.
it isn't. They were slow. Everybody called them dead and slow,
Right,
and was it Bobby? Was it Billy? Was it Mickey? Whose fault was it?
right.
And when we talked to Matt said, well, a lot of it's because Bobby rearranged the songs because he wanted to challenge himself and do something different with it. I think that with the addition of Jay Lane, it's like throwing the Joker in the deck, and he's just forcing the band to go faster because he can't play slower.
Right.
He's just fucking so
Doesn't
psyched.
want to. Yeah, he's excited. Yeah.
And I feel like that a lot of these songs have been, a couple beats per minute pushed up a little bit there.
Yeah, I agree. And also I think people kind of are over the slow thing. Like I think everybody's accepted it. They're like, okay, it's gonna be a little bit slower. So when that like lowered expectations plus things being ticked up a few beats per
Right.
minute combined make for,
Yeah. Under
pretty fun
promise
show.
and over deliver.
Exactly. Exactly. Nobody expects them to be at tempo. So when they are, everybody's like,
You were
holy
like,
shit, that
holy
was
shit.
ripping.
It's the best ever.
That
All right,
deal
so
felt like 100 miles per hour. Holy shit.
if I had tea here, I was going to do something stupid, but we'll just say like, subscribe, make sure that you follow us, leave a comment, and you know what else do we have going on? There's something else you have there that I'm not ever really sure how to present because I don't understand it.
Oh, well, if you want to support the channel, you can do a super thanks or a super like. It's basically a little dollar sign down on the chat. We appreciate it. We're going to be doing after shows 50 minutes after encore for
28
every
more.
yeah, 28 more for Dead and Co. and then all of Fish tour. Um For better or worse, I won't be here for every Dead and Co show. I think the majority of the Dead and Co shows are going to be Kevin T, but T was actually at the show tonight, so I'm filling in. But Kevin and I will also be doing all the fish shows. So, if you like what you're hearing and want to support the channel, donations are great. And if not, that's cool. Just hang out with us and,
But definitely leave a comment. Let us know what you think.
let us know what you thought. Yeah.
All right. So Sugary to open a set, not my choice.
No, me neither. I don't know. I don't want to be negative though. It's fine.
No, the best part about Sugary is that it's kind of, mid rock, meandering kind of thing. But then when Mayer hits the solo, where it's just the rapid fire machine gun Trey, but slowed down, but it's fantastic because it builds to that point and it's this slow build, and everybody tries to cop that with their jams. If you listen to most jam bands, they do that build thing like that. And what do they call it? The Bliss Jam.
Yeah, yeah.
And I think the Bliss Jam stems from the Sugary.
Yeah, probably. I always thought almonds were great at that too. That like that one specific device. I mean, obviously, like jamming in general is 99% Grateful Dead stemming, but that one device I've always felt was a big
And the beauty
almonds
with
device.
the beauty with the almonds was that it was the dual guitars, the dual leads.
Mm-hmm.
That's what just set that whole thing to the next level.
Complete frenzy.
Right. They were both fucking peaking hard. Right.
Yeah, exactly.
So we got New Speedway.
Yeah.
I'm a big fan of New Speedway. Bobby got the lyric. I'd give him 92 out of 100 on it. But it's one of those lyrics. I know you hate me talking about lyrics all the time, but
cool.
You have to nail this one. You can't flub it because it's so dense. It's it's hard to run with the weight of gold. Other hand, it's hard to run with the weight of lead or whatever. And
yeah, and actually, I thought he sounded good too. I mean, it was a little strange. I was curious what you thought of Bobby singing as of late and tonight. Like, not the lyrics, like nailing the lyrics, but actually like hitting the tones and pitch. And like, how do you think he did tonight?
I think he had some flubs and estimated,
Yeah.
which we'll get to in a little bit. But I think he was pretty much, like I said, with the 11, he nailed that. He really got it. But I don't think that he gets the, I'm going to do a motion. He doesn't get that anymore.
Yeah.
When he would like arch his back and, just control the whole arena with his voice, I don't think, but he's also however old he is. So,
yeah, I don't know if it's age or he's playing it safe, but I agree. It's kind of a little more timid, and I feel like he needs to push it a little more sometimes. But
first night,
yeah, that's true.
He's got to save his voice for 28 more shows.
It's a lot. It's a long tour,
right? So I texted Matt about the skull during drums, and he said, "Just so you know, I had it written estimated eyes." And they missed the estimated and went into eyes and then just threw the estimated after. So that's why we got the eyes estimated into drums tonight.
Oh, so they just played it backwards? They flipped it
Yeah,
around?
they played it backwards from how he had written it. But the eyes, I thought, I have some notes. Okay. The Mayor, it seemed he was very loose with it. He didn't have what I feel like in 2016, 2017 was a perch on his part to fill every empty space.
Mm-hmm.
He doesn't do that anymore, which is beautiful. Yeah. The arrangement on eyes that they're doing is fantastic. And I feel like O'Teal brings something to eyes that Phil never did with the whole fusion vibe and that solo. I mean, that's something that, Phil did not,
I don't know many bass players that do that, honestly. I love O'Teal's vibe and the way he plays. Well, both his playing vibe and just like his presence on stage. I mean, I think he's the unsung hero of this band. It doesn't get enough credit. And it really shined. He always does in Eyes. Yeah, that his solo was or his part was so melodic and complete butter, no harshness to it. And bass players, I feel like a lot of times they add a little bit of harshness. I don't know if they do it on purpose or if it's just the nature of the instrument, but you get a little bit of that, and for O'Teal, especially in that eyes, was just completely butter and really well done. And you see his face, the makeup
Yeah,
and yeah, dude,
I
I
love
love
that.
it. Yeah, me too. Yeah, I love his vibe so much.
Somebody had some cake with special icing tonight, I think,
Uh,
backstage. All right, so estimated, it was rough.
mhm.
Vocal flubs, rough landing to the second vocal part, which I call the preaching section when he's nah, nah, nah. But they pulled it together after that. The playing was good. It felt like, I don't know, Bobby was off on it a little bit. I don't know. Maybe because it was flipped and then they were doing it and you
Yeah, I
know.
don't know. Well, it musically, like it started out pretty tight. Like they
Yeah,
hit it, and were playing well. But yeah, then I think Bobby was off. I think that was for better or worse. I think that was more of a him thing.
right. Right. And then we talked about drums earlier. It probably was. You want to talk a little bit more about it because it seems like with Cornell, I haven't heard Jazz Fest because I don't think tapes exist. But with Cornell and this, if this is the direction drums are going, I think that drums may have a banner year in the last year we see it.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I don't need to say much more about it except that it was phenomenal. And I really like the choices Jay made. And I'm really excited to see what they do with it because it seems like there's room to even grow. Like as good as it was, I think that it's gonna get better through the tour.
Definitely. Then
Yeah.
we had a little space. Space is space.
I'm not a big space guy.
I'm a big fan of space, but unless they're going to do a jazz standard or something in it or the Spanish Jam or something, there's not much to talk about. You either hate it or you love it. You hit the
Right.
bathroom or you don't. Um, I always hit the bathroom during drums, so I was there for space, but that's another story. So then we got Wheel. Wheel suffers from the tempo, I feel like. Wheel was always a little bit dragging when Jerry did it. And I feel like that this is one of those ones that maybe could just be put on the shelf.
Yeah. I mean, I wouldn't be so presumptuous to make that kind of statement. I feel like I haven't earned the right. I haven't earned the right to tell them what to do, but I could get behind that. If you were to start that campaign, I would support you.
All right, there we go. Maybe I have to get a one of those online petitions. All right, so then Werfrat, which is slower. And I love Werfrat, but it was tough for me there. It started to drag a little bit. When
the
when you came out of Wheel into Rat, you were like, all right, all
the
right.
whole I mean, the whole end of the show, basically out of space, I never got back there for me.
Right.
Like, I don't know, like, and maybe it's just because we're on the East Coast and it's a West Coast show, so it got late, or I don't know what it is, but like maybe it was the estimated too was a little bit off. The drums was phenomenal, but then the rest of the show it never quite got back there, which is a shame because I thought the first half of the show was really good.
All right. And now see, I like the Sugar Mag. I thought that Bobby nailed it. And I'll take a Sugar Mag to close the set over some of the other choices we have.
Yeah.
That was always one of my things with the Dead. You had like a small pool of songs. If it was always going to be a Love Light or a Not Fade Away or a Sugar Mag or Around and Around. They
Right.
were
That's
like the
like the
four
whole
songs.
the idea of predicting sets was a lot easier and more of a science.
It's
And
so
actually
easy.
and it also showed you kind of like like that you had experience and knew what you were talking about because there were like those rules, right? And like it was easy to tell if somebody was just saying something that was crazy. They try to do that now with like other, like Fish and other gym bands, and it's just those same things aren't there. Is this live? Yeah.
Yes, we are
Well,
live.
obviously, yeah. We just put them up.
That's
Wait,
why I
how would
put
we?
it up.
How would we have had time to record an after show and talk? We could just be those guys that just talk shit about them without having seen the show.
I just pop it up every night.
Just
We're,
generically fill in the
right.
song.
We're actually both asleep right now. So, all right. So like,
That would.
subscribe. If you're watching this live, you're commenting over on the side. If you're watching it later, comment below. Black Muddy River, I'm going to throw something out at you, an idea. Let O'Teal sing it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, O'Teal has a great voice, and how many songs does he actually sing? He rarely sings. They don't let
Comes
him.
a time, Fire on the Mountain.
Yeah,
Maybe they did If I Had the World to Give a few times, but I don't think they've done that in a while.
yeah.
That was like the one that was one of those rare songs off, I guess, the Shakedown Street album.
Yeah.
And Jerry did it like 3 times, so it was weird that O'Teal picked it. But O'Teal did that whole album recently of all
Right.
Dead songs that he recorded up in Iceland at whatever that studio is.
Did you ever get to listen? I remember someone was telling us about that, but I haven't checked
No,
it out.
I'm an asshead. I have not listened to it.
Well,
So
maybe
here-
some point you will.
All right. This is it. Tomorrow night, 15 minutes after the encore.
Yeah, T will be back, right?
Yes.
Hopefully.
If not, you'll be here.
All right. Thanks, guys. See you next time.
Oh, I got a quick
I got it.